Hi guys and welcome to the monthly tech show. This is quite interesting. I've never done this before, so I will definitely look forward to hearing your feedback in the comments down below. But yeah, let's get started. A massive thank you to Gigabyte for being this month's show sponsor. Feel free to check them out in the link in the description below, and otherwise stick around for this awesome episode. So now that the VR headsets have been out for at least a few months, depending on when you watch this, or maybe even a few years if you watch this in the future, I thought it would be good to go check out first of all the HTC Vive and what it's like to play on it, but as well as the gaming PCs that you need to run it. So well, here's that. So we're here at Overclockers UK to take a look at their HTC Vive and a couple of different gaming PCs that fit into the kind of VR ready, VR capable and the kind of VR awesome category. Yeah, well, let's get started and take a look. So starting off with the headset, as you can see, this one is the HTC Vive and it's pretty awesome. They've got 1200 by 1080 panels and 90Hz panels per eye, which is really awesome, and it has a camera on the front to help see where you are in relation to walls around you and your controllers and stuff like that, which is really cool. In terms of the cables, they come at the top and are a headband, and as unlike the Oculus headset, which has headphones built into it, this one just has a 3.5mm jack to plug your own set of headphones in, which is actually pretty nice. So a lot of people say the headset is a lot really heavy and kind of uncomfortable, and while it is a little bit on the heavy side, besides a bit of sort of grease that was left on my face afterwards, it was actually quite comfortable to wear. It also has a focus control knob on the right hand side depending on how near or far sighted you are, and it has a breakout box so that you don't rip the cables out of your PC. Now the Lighthouse boxes, which are actually a little bit bigger than I thought they'd be, are very important for the tracking. They need to be powered and they don't come with any stands or anything, so you pretty much need to mount them yourself, but they don't look too difficult to mount, which is quite nice. The controllers are pretty awesome. Obviously these are the pre-ones, so there may be slight changes in the final release, but it reminds me a lot of the Steam controller for that haptic touchpad up on the top, although I must say that the trigger on the back was actually really nice. It was a very sort of positive action trigger. These controllers also track really well, and with the touchpad it does allow for some interesting functionality, although I'll wait to see games that implement that a little bit better. One of the first experiences I had was this sort of ocean top simulator type thing. It was a bit more of a demo, but you basically stood on the deck of a submerged ship and watched a whale swim by, and while it's not something you would necessarily expect to enjoy, it was an incredibly immersive experience and something that you wouldn't normally ever get to see and experience, so that was really cool. Job Simulator was another fun one. It was definitely more of a demo, something that you would play at somewhere like this, like Overclockers or anywhere else, but it wouldn't be something that I would imagine you would go and buy yourself if you had one of these headsets, even though it was quite fun throwing paper planes at my colleagues, eating donuts and deleting lots of emails. There's something to take away from this terrible attempt at designing the word TechteamGB with some stripes behind it in Tilt Brush, which is the 3D kind of drawing program, is basically that these headsets aren't always or necessarily entirely for gaming purposes. When I handed the headset over to some other people who are using Tilt Brush, they definitely came up with some interesting ideas of stuff like using the either Tilt Brush or similar applications to basically draw out a bedroom, or for example, a room in a house, and then you could move furniture around in that so that you could see what different things would look like, which is actually a really interesting idea. And I can imagine places like architecture firms or something like that who are designing houses for people, they could have a Vive or an Oculus design the house in a 3D model, which is something I believe they normally do anyway, and then show the people who they're going to build the house for what their house is going to look like, and I think that'd be really awesome. Obviously in gaming purposes though, it's still really cool, and generally speaking, while Tilt Brush again is still a bit more of a demo, it's certainly a fun thing to do, and I can see a few people really enjoying this kind of application, so that's pretty cool. finally, my favourite of all games, the Space Pirate Trainer. It was ridiculously fun, especially on the Vive because of the motion controllers, and I've got to say that they tracked really well. They even tracked rotation, so if I wanted to do a kind of gangster shooting, you know, sideways pistol, it worked fine. So I was really impressed with the overall tracking, and while this game is definitely still more of a kind of demo type game because it's wave based, it was so much fun, and it's something that I could genuinely, like, if I had a Vive, that would be the game that I would play the most as far as I'm aware. I know that there is a zombie one as well, so I might have to try that one out, but yeah, this was ridiculously fun, and I actually won a Vive just for this, really. So the overall experience with that VR headset, especially the Vive, was very simple to sort of set up and play. It was generally just plug and play. You sort of connect it, and as long as you have the Steam VR app downloaded, it's pretty simple. Runs rather, you know, normally, and you just launch games as if it's nothing else, as if it's, you know, just another display, which is actually really nice. And while there is a calibration process to do, it is pretty simple as well. In terms of the actual specs for the PC you'll need, the minimum requirements are generally a quad-core CPU and I think 8 to 16 gigs of RAM depending on which headset you're talking about, and an R9 390 or a GTX 970. Now that does seem like quite a high-end sort of system, and generally speaking it is, but at the same time we're going to show in a second about the systems overclockers do, which is actually pretty decent value if you want to buy a headset and a completely new PC, or obviously you can upgrade your graphics card and possibly CPU or RAM as well to meet the requirements. But it's actually not too bad, and you don't actually have to spend thousands of pounds to get this running. So this is Hal from Overclockers UK, and he's going to talk a little bit about the systems they offer as well as their partnership with HTC.
So at OC UK, VR systems and VR are a big thing for us. So we do have a range of VR systems available. They start about £767. This starts with a basic spec i5 6500 and a GTX 970. Then we move slightly further up the range to 6600K and an AMD Fury. Then we've also got one at £1,300, which is our sort of top of the range VR branded system that has a 6700K and a 980 Ti, which is about £1,300.
Pretty awesome.
As mentioned, we are also partnered with HTC. So here we have our HTC Vive room scale VR experience room. This is a dedicated room, which is a 20 square meter room with built-in Vive transmitters, as you might be able to see. And then people can come here, experience Vive in its native environment.
Yeah, how it's meant to be played.
How it's meant to be played. We've got a range of games available, so we've got the deep sea one, we've got some spaceship shooting stuff, and we've even got a tilt brush as well, so people can come along and do that. Booking is available on our website. We also are partnered with Vive to now offer pre-orders as of yesterday, pre-orders on the HTC Vive headset.
So of course you don't need to pick up a system from overclockers themselves. Really anything with an i5 or an FX8 core, 8 or 16 gigs of RAM and a GTX 970 or an R9 390 should do you just fine. Although obviously the higher spec PC you can sort of get your hands on, the better your experience will be, as you're less likely to dip below that 90Hz refresh rate, which can, you know, if you do go below that, can lead to like motion sickness and stuff. So really the better sort of PC you have, the overall better experience you'll likely have. Although it is quite nice to know that it doesn't cost a complete arm and a leg, you know, it doesn't cost an entire kidney, for example, to get a headset and a PC, so that's pretty cool. Now this system is actually one of the systems Overclocker sells. I believe this one is a 980 based PC, I believe also a i5 6600K if I remember rightly, and that's quite cool, but obviously you can get a smaller case or a smaller version of this with a GTX 970 and an i5 6400. That's the £767 system Hal was talking about. It's actually quite cool. It's ridiculously small form factor for the power that it has, and allows you to have a nice small box in your you know, TV stand or whatever, while still being able to use your VR headsets. That's pretty awesome. Also, just something cool that I saw in the Overclockers lobby was this ridiculously massive 8-pack system. 8-pack being one of the sort of world-renowned overclocking people who works for Overclockers, and it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's hooked up to this really awesome gaming chair. It's got a triple monitor setup, as well as a kind of lap board for your keyboard and mouse, which is just, it's amazing, and I kind of want one. Also, a quick look around his workshop, which is really awesome. He's got a massive tank of liquid nitrogen, lots of graphics cards and motherboards that are ripped apart for, you know, science. And it's actually really cool because he overclocks and kind of deliberately breaks things so that you can test stuff for the manufacturers. I know he works with Gigabyte quite closely and a few other vendors like ASUS and I think ASRock, there's another board there as well. And basically he is able to, you know, push things to the limit and help improve BIOSes. So if you know, actually use overclocking features in the BIOS, he might have helped make them, so that's pretty awesome. Other than that, yeah. So that's pretty much it from us here at Overclockers UK, and that's pretty much it for this segment too. I'm really impressed with how much, or how little, I guess, VR actually kind of costs. I know that it isn't exactly cheap and it isn't available to everyone, but for a headset between sort of £500 and £700, depending on which one you pick and what you're looking for, it's not too bad, and the PCs don't cost multiple thousands of pounds, although I guess they could if you want to. I'm sure the people like Overclockers would be happy to take your business if that is the case, but yeah, it's nice to know that it isn't entirely inaccessible for everyone, so that's pretty cool, and I look forward to prices dropping on both hardware and obviously as the headsets improve over generation, things will get a bit cheaper as well and a bit more accessible to everyone, even if you don't have 15 square feet to play with at your home. Hi guys, and welcome to the news. We've got Phil who will be co-hosting the news here. Say hello.
Hello.
And yeah, the first topic we're going to be talking about, and you can find all the links in the description down below as usual, but first topic is actually Project ARA. It's Google's modular phone that we saw quite a lot of last year. And it's kind of back with a vengeance this time, but with a few things that we're, I guess, both happy with and not happy with. What would you say there?
Yeah, like if you remember, the original Project ARA was this big concept idea they'd come up with called phone blocks, and they were saying, tell the world that you want this thing. And the idea is you would have a phone that would never become obsolete. Now that they've brought it back and said, hey, it's not dead, but there's the big but there of the processor and the screen are part of the frame. They are no longer modular components. Which, on the one hand, from a technical standpoint, I can understand and appreciate. It's very technically difficult to think of creating a frame that you can slide in the processor, the heart of the phone, in and out. And
yeah, I mean, for me, I think I absolutely loved this idea when it first came out, with the idea of, as you say, putting the processor in, swapping batteries, swapping cameras, there's just so many different features that you could put in a block and make it work, and it'd be really awesome. The first thing I thought, especially when I saw this kind of revised version, was that you could put a really decent 4K sensor on the back and a stereo microphone and make it a really good sort of, you know, handy cam type thing, or you know, compact camera type thing, which is really awesome. But the main point for me, and I think you may agree with me here, is that the reason that I will upgrade this phone is either because the battery will get so annoying that, you know, it only lasts for 5 minutes and then I have to get a new one, or it will just become too slow and annoying, and it will take 40 minutes to type a sentence, and that will be the reason I'll upgrade this phone, and that's due to the processor and the RAM. And if I can't change those, that makes it the idea of the modular phone seem a little bit kind of broken to me.
yeah, that's always been the killer for me. Like, I spent ages with back when I used to be a filthy iPhone user, I had my 4, and then it came to getting it to, I think it was the last version of the operating system that Apple supported, update it to that, and it just gradually slowed to a halt. Battery couldn't hold its charge, and that was the killer for it. I've never been, to be fair, I've never been one to actually break a phone screen, so that's not too big a deal for me, but the processor will be the killer. I don't know, part of me thinks there's going to be a point where phone processors are so fast, it doesn't matter. You're not going to need to replace it. It's as fast as your computer. But until that point, the question is going to be, how much is the frame itself going to cost? Because essentially, you've just bundled these things into one big module. And if the frame is a reasonable enough price, then it's that whole argument if you've got a spade and a spade handle, and the end of the spade breaks, you replace that bit, and the handle breaks, you replace that bit. Is it still the same thing? it's one of those big things that hurts my head a lot when I try and think about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sort of thing. I can see it being a really nice thing, but also a really interesting point that I've been reading a few of the articles on this. We've linked to the Wired one, which is the first kind of main piece. But one of the interesting things that I was reading about was that I think if they didn't effectively make it so that you would still need to upgrade the actual main piece of the phone, people, all the phone carriers, all the networks, people like Carphone Warehouse, if you're in the UK, none of those places would stock it, and it would be absolutely impossible to actually sell, because the whole idea of a modular phone kind of breaks the current ecosystem of, you know, you need to upgrade your phone every 2 years or however long your contract lasts. And so I can kind of see that as a ploy for them to start to get people to sort of introduced to the idea of upgrading their phone. And maybe that's the kind of goal here. And also I completely understand the idea that, you know, stuff like the screen and stuff like the processor and RAM are very difficult to integrate even with their kind of new really cool sort of smart latching stuff. It is really exciting, but I think they've kind of compromised a bit here, at least in sort of our high-end opinion.
Yeah, until we see a firm price, launch date, specs, who's going to be creating the components, how much is each module going to cost? Because the thing is, if the total cost of the phone plus enough modules to make it functional is more than a typical handset like this, pre-built for you, then it's going to be quite niche. It's going to stick to enthusiasts, and like you said, carriers want mass market appeal. The reason that every carrier has iPhones and every carrier has Samsung Galaxy S7s, S7 Edges is because they have widespread appeal. This is quite niche, and potentially, unless they can come up with a successful model in which they can market these modules and introduce them sort of upgrades, bolt-ons to your plan, like, it's going to become, I don't know, it's hard to predict because it's so different to everything that there is at the moment.
So the next topic we're going to talk about is kind of following on the Google side, because that's kind of been one of the big events in this sort of month of tech news, and that is obviously the Android N update. And there's a kind of cool new features here. I think we have kind of mixed opinions about this. So obviously the main ones are the new sort of VR sort of stuff. I think it's called Daydream, which is quite cool. It means that the sort of VR setup is built into the kernel or the core of the OS, whereas you don't have to, you know, hope that your certain manufacturers provide all of the sort of stuff necessary to make it happen. There's a new taskbar, multi-window support. You've also got direct reply notifications, a new quick settings menu, bundle notifications, and a doze mode 2.0, which is apparently better for power draw when the screen's off and stuff like that.
A lot of these things I look at and I think, okay, cool. There's no headline, there's no big deal. And the problem is,
yeah,
it's the one problem with Android launches, there has never been a eye-popping feature. Like, every time you have an Apple keynote, there will be some big thing that makes the next version of iOS bigger and better noticeably. Yeah. With Android N, there's nothing that's leaping out at me. Like virtual reality, we've had Google Cardboard for a couple of years now, and now with like other players coming to the VR market with things like the Vive and the Rift, like Google's definitely going to have a share of that. There's not a doubt. Like, there's already a roller coaster, a theme park in the UK, which uses Google handsets to create a virtual reality roller coaster, an actual roller coaster ride. So
yeah, I think it's Gear VR. Yeah.
So there's definitely a use for it, but it exists, and I don't see how they're really going to be improving it from the software side. It's going to be the hardware that makes VR like incredible, like 60 FPS, 1080p on your phone VR. Like, that's when it's going to be exciting. Software-wise, I don't think it's going to do anything exciting. There is a bit of talk about the Vulkan API, which might make virtual reality more interesting, but again, for most Android users, that's not going to be a selling point. That's not going to be, look at what my phone can do. I hate to say it as a novelty, because there's so many cool things you can do with it, but at this point, there's no practical everyday use for everyone who has an Android phone.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the main kind of thing for this update is the multi-window support, just because I know some TouchWiz devices have had it and some other devices with different skins have had it, but to bring it to every device is really nice, and I do like the implementation, but as Phil says, it's not really something, like none of the features are all that brand new or something that's kind of drastically amazing. It just feels like a kind of, you know, an iteration update more than a brand new version of Android update kind of thing. Doze Mode 2.0 does look nice in the sense that battery life will be extended, and obviously depending on what phone you have, that will depend on how even more kind of amount of battery life you get. But yeah, I mean, as I said, it's not really something that's kind of grabbing me. And also, Google does really still have the problem of when they launch a new update like this, the vast majority of phones will never see this update, and even phones like my Moto X Play, which is obviously basically like close enough to a Nexus device. It's the closest you're going to get without buying a Nexus device. It's still not going to get this update for, you know, 6 months or a year. I only fairly recently got Marshmallow, kind of sort of maybe less than 6 months ago. So yeah, it's just, if they got a delivery system working so that the carriers and people like Samsung and HTC, even if they do put their own skin on it, which is still fine, if they could just get it out more quickly so that every phone has this update, that'd be really nice. That's my main thing with Android.
And a lot of these things, I hate to say it because I am an avid sort of, you know, preacher of the goodness of Android. A lot of this is playing catch up with stuff the iPhone has had for quite a few versions. Direct replies, they had that in, I can't even remember the iOS version, but that's been around for a while. That's not new. And in fact, there's some SMS apps like Google's own Messenger app already have direct replies as a feature. And to be honest, in the implementation they've got, it's not useful because you got a little reply box with no space on the screen to show you the message you're actually replying to. New quick settings menu, so what? I don't care. Can I put my phone in airplane mode? Can I adjust the screen brightness? I can already do that.
Yeah, and I'm sure TouchWiz and you know, HTC Sense will change all that anyway. So it's nice that it's there. It's not massive.
Bundled notifications, that'll be good because my notification area is always clustered with things. But again, I'm pretty sure a skin could have done that or might have already done that anyway. Multitasking, again, iPhone catch-up, like, so what, like, how much quicker is it going to get? Like, app switching at the moment, like, it's not true multitasking, but it's fast enough. Unless it's making, like, there is one statistic where they say, task speeds increase between 30% to 600%. That's a big window.
Imagine that sort of appeal in a court, like, oh, I'm 30 to 600% sure I didn't run them over, officer. I'm 30 to 600%.
It's not a number you can put a lot of weight behind. So Doze mode, because the thing is, they're going to say, yeah, the battery life's going to get better. Most people using it are going to be using it on new handsets, which are going to have better batteries anyway. It's going to be very hard to do a like-for-like comparison between N and Marshmallow. And again, Marshmallow only just came out, and this is slated for later this year. Like, I'm all for more frequent releases, but only if you've got a real something to add. Otherwise, it's creating undue work for carriers and phone manufacturers who ultimately just want to release a phone and be done with it. They don't want to be supporting operating systems for years to come.
Well, we've seen Samsung who have stopped updating certain brands of phones after literally, like, they launched it and then a couple of versions of Android came out in a short space of time and then they just didn't update them at all. And a lot of phones have a lot of security risks.
That's the one thing that Android is always going to struggle with versus iPhones. iPhones, Apple makes the phones, Apple makes the software. Almost everyone is running the most up-to-date version. Android, there is little to no incentive for handset manufacturers to be updating their old phones. Ultimately, they want to be shifting new phones. If they're going to keep their old phones up to date, there's no motivation for them.
Alright, so next up is a topic about Chromebooks, again still staying on the Android side, or Google side, but this one is actually pretty interesting and could mean quite a lot of change for a lot of people. Basically, as we've kind of expected for a pretty long time, Google is now supporting Android apps on the Chromebook, which means pretty much any Android app, especially ones that are designed for tablets, will likely work fairly fine. This may differ depending on device and that sort of stuff, but since it is the Google ecosystem and it is actually a lot closer to home than Android actually is, it should be a bit better.
Yeah, this is something I can get excited about, and I don't get excited about a lot of things these days. So Chromebooks outselling Macs, that's a big deal. Macs have been on the upward trajectory ever since Apple became relevant again with the release of the iPhone and the iPad and became a big deal. So Macs have been going up, and to hear that Chromebooks have started outselling them, given they are comparatively new. Like the MacBooks have been around since 2000s. Chromebooks have only been around since about 2010. I can't remember when they first came out, but
something like that.
They are these radically different computers, but people are drawn to them because they're so affordable and they do most things that most people want to do.
Yeah.
And if you add Android to that, where some people are living on their phones and tablets now, you've got a winner. You are adding apps to the device which is only on the internet, and that's big.
Yeah, I mean, for me, so I just did a review of an Asus Ultrabook, which was a full Windows 10 PC. It was an Intel Core M CPU and that sort of thing. And I quite liked it because, as I said in the video, it's a lot more of a kind of lifestyle laptop. Something like this ARA X3 that I'm using to do this show with. That, for me, like that sort of PC is definitely more of a work sort of PC. It's something that I would end up editing videos on, as I actually have in the past, as well as gaming on. Whereas something like that Ultrabook that I took a look at, it's very much a kind of lifestyle laptop. It doesn't change what you do in life. And just kind of make things a little bit easier because you can just have this light thing that you can throw around. So with this, with the Chromebooks being able to run Android apps, but with the ability to run a full web browser, so obviously the Chrome web browser, and you get the desktop versions of sites, which for me is a really big thing because that's the most annoying thing about mobile use for me. It's a really nice experience to be able to do, and I reckon that this could replace a huge amount of PCs for a lot of people, because if you can play, Angry Birds on your laptop, especially if it's got a touch screen, which I believe most Chromebooks do, that's a real winner, and I think it's going to be pretty impressive.
Yeah, my only concern is that some of the cheaper Chromebooks, which were shipping with 16 gigs, 8 gigs of flash storage, because they didn't need a lot because it's all in the cloud. If you try and bung...
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, if you try and bung Android onto them, I worry how quickly you're going to fill up that space. Because reading into the article here, we can see that it's going to mainly be focusing on the higher end ones, which already have touchscreens, such as the Pixel 2. So... Yeah. A lot of that, the one problem I'll see there is a lot of Android apps are not optimized for laptops. That's a simple fact, because very few laptops at this moment in time run Android. Like, you get a few odd Chinese brand ones, but no idea.
Or some of the weird ones that run Windows and Android. I think was the Asus Transformer or something like that.
Yeah.
You could dock it into a keyboard and it turned to Windows, but if you undocked it, it switched to Android.
But all in all, I think this is going to make a Chromebook a lot more viable for me as a day-to-day usage laptop. Obviously, it's not going to replace a MacBook or a Windows laptop anytime soon. It doesn't have capability for things like video editing, capability for things like programmers. There is not that. There's more specialist applications, and you won't be able to get Steam games either. Like, if you get Steam on Android, then we're going to be very interested, because they're already making things work with Linux, and Android is a version of Linux, so.
Well, sort of.
It's heavily modified, but
fork.
it's running on a Linux kernel, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
At least it used to be. We're not clear on this, so don't quote us. But
but if you add Android, that is a step towards getting your other desktop apps onto these Chromebooks.
Yeah, definitely. And considering that you do have the more expensive version of Chromebooks, which until this made absolutely no sense, like the Pixel C/Pixel 2, like those ones, and the other like $1,000 Chromebooks made absolutely no sense to me, because you could only use, well, Chrome and whatever, Chrome apps you get, which there are quite a few, but again, for like $1,000 you can get a okay-ish gaming laptop. So that one confused me, but now that this is available, this does kind of scream to me that a lot of people, at least people who are using Ultrabooks and people who are using kind of generally low-end laptops, may pick one of these up, especially one of the sort of slightly lower end ones, or at least general cheaper end ones, and yeah, I think that could be pretty cool. So this one is just kind of a quick message, or just a mention. It's that a post on Reddit, r/PC Master Race, where they're basically talking about the fact that Oculus has kind of removed the revive support. So for games that are made by Oculus and sold in the Oculus Store, or anything that's designed to work with an Oculus Rift, you are now not able to use your HTC Vive to play that game, even if you already own a Rift and a Vive. So that's, I guess, I mean, there's kind of, to play devil's advocate here, it's possible that it was completely by accident, just as an update to the general code and the sort of app. It's possible that it was on purpose. I know that Palmer Luckey, when they kind of were talking about the Rift, especially, I think it was just before Facebook bought them, they were talking about how they definitely never wanted to kind of close it in as an ecosystem. So yeah, what's happening there? But I'm sure that people will rehack it and make it work again. So yeah, it's kind of just as a quick note, really. You got anything there?
Yeah, like, it's that typical thing where, if you think about it, Oculus and the Rift have been on the scene for more years than you'd think now.
Yeah.
Like, VR is still a relatively new thing, but they've been around for ages, since before Facebook had an interest and put money into them. So ultimately, the Vive has just sort of burst onto the scene with very little notice, and has immediately been able to pick up on all the momentum that the Rift has created and use it to fuel its own arguably better offering at this point in time. Like, I haven't had a chance to use the Rift yet, but I have seen people using it, and it looks like it is tackling a lot of the things that the Rift isn't able to
Vive,
at this moment in
I
time.
think I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my words mixed up there. I haven't actually used a Vive, but as far as I can tell, it is making up for the shortfalls that the Rift has, and it's one-upping them in essence.
Yeah, I mean, as you saw in the first segment, the Vive is absolutely amazing. The fact that you can track around a room is just brilliant, and no matter which headset you pick, it's obviously a great experience. But I've tried the Oculus DK2, I think it was, so I haven't tried the consumer version yet. But from what I saw in the comparison, and from what I've seen online and that sort of stuff, the Vive is currently a better headset. I know that it's priced higher, and that's kind of fair enough, but for the full room tracking, I think even though the displays are the same, I've heard notices that the Vive looks better to the eye. I know, again, the Vive is a bit heavier, but overall, yeah, either way they're pretty cool, but the Vive is definitely winning out, and I think Oculus may be a little bit butthurt about that.
Yeah, I think a funny extension of this is where we're going to get Google, and they're going to lock down cardboard, because everybody cares about that.
Yeah, that's your next 1080p gaming experience, yeah.
Nah, it looks like the community is not going to let this happen. There are going to be people who, no matter how much you try and lock them down, they're going to make a workaround. So I think this will be, if this was intentional, I think it's been a learning experience that they can't do it. Yeah. It's not going to pay off. Just let people do what people do, and ultimately I think it'll be a fairly peaceful coexistence for the while.
Eventually.
For now, at least.
Yeah. Cool, so next up is the GTX 1080. Now, this was obviously announced quite at the start of the month, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of coverage on it. So we're kind of just going to have our thoughts. I will be doing some 1080 and 1070 coverage at some point. I do have many cards lined up, so that's going to be awesome. But yeah, what do you think?
I want one. I mean, I'm still on an R9 Look at me, I'm stuck in the past, man. It's not that it does everything it needs to, but yeah, the 1080 is weird. It's incredible. I was about to swear there. It's incredible. Yeah. but it's not. It's better than the Titan X, for Christ's sake. It's it's better. It's better than what was meant to be the definitive best card. You get a Titan, you have the best prosumer-consumer graphics card. You have the best, and now suddenly they've released this 1080, not a 1080 Ti, just a 1080.
Yeah, I'm mildly confused, just mostly because of the price and the actual genuine performance increase. I've been chatting with a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook about it, and most people are impressed. Some people aren't. I think mostly just because people were really hyped about how absolutely amazing it would be, and like 2x the performance of a Titan, when it does beat it, but it doesn't beat it by 2x. So it's a really nice card. I am really looking forward to playing with them. It's an interesting thing. I know that there's a few new features. I know Ansel is meant to be quite cool. I'm not sure how I would actually use it on a sort of like gaming basis. Personally anyway, I guess that'd be kind of a storytelling thing, sort of, you know, like if I was playing a story game, like single player story game, and I wanted to screen cap something in the world, that'd be quite cool. But yeah, I mean, they're absolutely awesome cards. One thing I did note, though, is a great channel called Adore TV, who I'll actually be meeting with fairly shortly. I did a great video on the card, and he showed that on Micron's website, the GDDR5X that NVIDIA are buying for this card isn't the fastest you can get. They're quoting 10 gigabit per second for those chips. I believe there's at least 12, if not 14 gigabit per second chips available. So if I were to rumor anything right now, if I were to rumor anything at all, it would be that there will also be a 1080 Ti and a Titan XYZ.
Yeah. One thing I'm going to just say, that is a very pretty looking card.
You like it?
I don't generally think of graphics cards as being like incredibly, like especially Nvidia's ones where they all look the same most of the time these days.
Yeah, for the last few years anyway.
But I am a big fan of that angular design, and I'm hoping the other improvements that they've made are as good as I say, like the better supposedly vapor chamber cooling.
Yeah.
If anything, I think the 1080 has gone out there, as it always does. The flagship card has set the bar high. What's going to be more interesting is seeing where does that equate to when you trickle down to things like what's going to be the 1070 they've announced, and then other cards they haven't said, like the 1060, the 1050. Those are going to be the really interesting cards. Like if you get something like a 1050 which is in line with something the current 970 or something, that's going to be really, really interesting. Like at that price point, that performance is going to blow whatever is currently there out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would definitely change the kind of lower end, and especially the idea of, you know, kind of console versus PC, which we're going to talk about in a second. Basically, the idea for that is, you know, a relative, like a console priced PC, if that was available, and the performance that, you know, if you see that kind of trickle down performance step, if you could afford a 1050 type thing or a 1050 Ti or whatever they end up calling it, in a build, that would just be like absolutely, like that you're talking easily beating, you know, playing 1080p games quite happily, even maybe 1440p.
Ultimately, I think no one's arguing this card has made everyone's jaws collectively drop. Okay, the final thing we're going to talk about is something that Andrew wrote quite a nice article about a little while ago, which is about the Windows 10 upgrade. As I'm sure you're aware, Windows 10 free upgrade to everyone running Windows 7 and 8, and ultimately, if you haven't upgraded, you might have noticed Microsoft are getting a little bit more aggressive in pushing Windows 10 upon you. Andrew?
Yeah, so I wrote this on Monday. Try to work out the days there, but yeah. So I've had quite a few experience with this. So first of all, my main desktop has been a Windows 10 machine since pretty much the day it came out. In fact, I think I did upgrade it on the day it came out. And it's been fine. I haven't had too many issues. That's, you know, all good. It's all nice. Obviously, the kind of annoying snooping stuff is annoying, but as the time has gone on, and yeah, I think you have until July 29th, I believe it is. I wrote it down at the bottom. You have until July 29th to upgrade. After that, the annoying things will go away, but they've been getting really, really aggressive with their upgrade path here. So I noticed I've got an HD PC downstairs that for many reasons needs to stay on Windows 7. I turned the PC on the other day and it had a notice pop-up box that said your upgrade is scheduled for like a week from now, and I was like, what? No, cancel. And I couldn't cancel it, and so I could just push it back. I believe I've managed to cancel it now, but again, it was quite annoying. And then I turned on the test PC yesterday or today, and it just said your Windows 10 upgrade is 15 minutes away. Like your PC will automatically upgrade in 15 minutes, and I'm like, what? I didn't click. I've not agreed to this. Like. So yeah, that's pretty bad. And also another huge thing that came recently was that in a Windows update, they broke Secure Boot on certain ASUS motherboards running Windows 7 and Windows 8. So if you have an ASUS motherboard and you're running Secure Boot and you got this Windows update, it bricked your PC. Like you couldn't boot. It was a Secure Boot issue. It wouldn't launch the PC at all. And Microsoft have refused to fix the issue they created and their main solution is upgrade to Windows 10. Never mind that they've bricked the drive. Like I believe ASUS did launch a workaround and stuff, but never mind that they bricked people's PCs. They just said, no, just go upgrade to Windows 10. That is absolutely insane. And yeah, also, final thing here. I walked away from a PC, my Windows 10 PC, for 30 seconds, came back into the room, and it turned everything off. I was in the middle of rendering a video, not even just editing, I was rendering a video. It turned the PC off and did a full major Windows 10 upgrade or update. Just without me even touching anything. It didn't notify me. Like there wasn't, even when I went to the start menu and hit power, there wasn't a kind of update and shut down button. It was just, didn't notify me, and I lost quite a lot of stuff and I had to redo a lot of work. So that really annoys me.
Yeah, I guess I've got a slightly different perspective. On the one hand, Microsoft, ease off your aggro, okay? If I want it, I'll take it. But two main points here. One is that the whole idea behind Microsoft releasing Windows 10 was that it was going to be free to everyone on Windows 7 and 8 to get them to this up-to-date operating system that Microsoft could keep supporting for the foreseeable future. I mean, if you think about Windows 7 is now as old as Windows XP was when Vista came out. It is a comparatively old operating. It's 7 years old, coming up to 7 years old. I mean, I still remember the advertising campaign, I'm a Windows PC, or Windows 7 was my idea. Like, I still remember those advertising campaigns, but it's an old operating system, and from Microsoft's standpoint, I understand they want as many people off it as possible, so they don't have what happened with XP, where up to like 2014, over 10 years since they released it, they still had something like a 20-30% user base on it, which becomes impossible for them to deal with, and they have to get like specialized teams to patch any major vulnerabilities. By forcing people onto Windows 10, it's making life easier for Microsoft. Ultimately, my second point, they need to become more like Apple. That's something I say very rarely, but they need to become more like Apple and the model that they've taken on. Apple used to have, you want to upgrade, it would be £20, then it came £10, and now Apple just do, if you have a Mac, it's a free update as and when you want to update. That should be the models that Windows is adopting. They should have one cost to get a Windows license. Doesn't specify which one, a Windows license, and then you keep updating as you wish.
Yeah, that would be rather nice, especially because Windows still costs, depending on where you're looking, a good sort of £100 to $100.
Yeah, again, some websites as low as £50, but you have to shop around a little bit.
Yeah, and I know there's, I think Paul's Hardware left a link that was like you could buy just the key itself for something like $15 or something, and it was legit, but yeah, it's just kind of annoying. So that's pretty much it for the news. If you have any topics you'd like us to talk about on next month's episode, feel free to send them in on Twitter or Facebook, or leave them in the comments of this video, and I'm sure we'll get back to you with new options. But yeah, also thank you to Phil for co-hosting the news with me.
Not a problem. Lovely to be here as always, and I will hopefully be around next month if you don't hate me. Well,
feel free to let us know in the comments down below, and yeah, awesome. Next up, as I kind of hinted to in the news, we have a possibly controversial piece on console gaming and PC gaming, and why I, at least personally anyway, think that we should really stop arguing about it. The age-old debate of whether PC gaming or console gaming is better has been going on for, as I said, quite a long time, and personally I'm kinda bored of it, especially because it's getting a bit insane now, so let's try and dispel some of the myths and talk about why each one is actually pretty good. So to make it clear, this isn't a video to, bash console gaming or tell you how amazing the PC Master Race is. I am obviously a PC gamer, but I've been a console gamer for many years prior to being a PC gamer, so I understand both sides of the coin there. Yeah, let's start off with what makes console gaming great. Now, if you can't tell, consoles are pretty great for just, picking up your controller, relaxing, and actually, hold on, I'm gonna need to turn it off. It's actually really loud. Anyway, right, so yeah, as I said, it's very a kind of relaxed experience. All you have to do is plug in maybe 2 wires, 3 at most, wirelessly, just, press a button on the controller, turns on, works, just connects to your TV. And it's simple, it's nice and easy. All you have to do is throw a game in, maybe download a patch or software update type thing, and then you're good to go. And it's just a more simplistic experience for people who don't want to spend any time at all messing around with what PCI lane the graphics card is in, or which DisplayPort output works the best, or color gamut settings, or anything to do with, they just want to sit down, pick up a controller and play games, and that's fair enough. One of the other main advantages, besides simplicity and ease of use, is the kind of console exclusives. So obviously titles like Halo, Forza, although both of those I believe are coming to PC very soon, stuff like Uncharted, those sort of games, those massive AAA titles that are pretty great, are only exclusive to consoles. So if you do want to only play those games, then you may have to pick up a console. A lot of people pick up consoles, and specifically pick up a particular console just because of what their friends are gaming on. Personally, I bought an Xbox 360, or I got an Xbox 360 because my friends had one, and that was the console that they were gaming on, so that's the one I went with. I didn't really have too much cares either way. I did quite like the Halo franchise, so I was kind of leaning towards that anyway, but a lot of people do pick up consoles depending on what their friends are playing, so that is a big factor as well. Just to add to the friends thing, by the way, obviously it's a lot easier with consoles to get multiple controllers hooked up to the same box, playing on the same screen, which is really nice and kind of immersive experience to play with your friends, so that you don't have to worry about having multiple PCs, multiple everything, just that you can all play together. And the final point is the initial cost. So a lot of people think that PC gaming is really expensive, and it can be if you want it to be, especially because consoles you can generally pick up on offer. Normally you can get a couple of games with them. You already have a TV most of the time, so you don't need to go buy that. And it normally comes with the controllers and stuff, so it's not as if you have to buy a keyboard, a mouse, a monitor, a headset, speakers, or anything, those sort of things. It's generally all sort of ready for you, or you're picking it up with the box. So that's kind of one of the good things there. So just a couple of points to kind of counteract and retort, as well as a few original ones. First of all, Steam is definitely making life easier for the PC gamer. It means that you can click and just download games, buy them, without having to go outside at all, or or just order a disc off Amazon. You don't even need the disc drive in your PC anymore, which is rather nice. But yeah, it's definitely making things a lot easier, which is really cool. Now, one of the main benefits of PC gaming is obviously the upgradability. It's quite flexible to your budget, so if you only have the amount of money that it would take to buy an Xbox One or a PS4 at this point in time, you can still build a relatively decent gaming PC that will perform roughly as well as the consoles will, and then you can upgrade at a later date. I understand that that's not for everyone, but it is a really big benefit of being a sort of PC gamer. And just to add to that, obviously you've got a lot of options available as well. So if you wanted to run 144Hz monitors like this one and the one over there, you can. If you want to run 4K monitors, if you want to run ultra wides, there is a lot of options there. You've also got a lot of options with peripherals, so you can have mechanical gaming keyboards and really nice mice. You can have flight sticks. You can have a whole range of steering wheels and all that sort of stuff. And you don't need to buy Xbox or PlayStation approved products, which tend to be a lot more expensive. You can buy whatever you want. You can buy it off of Alibaba if you want to, and yeah, just have fun with it. And it's a lot more sort of options available to you there. Also, just as a quick retort to the exclusive point for titles, indie games are a thing, and PC is kind of the main platform for that. There are so many fantastic indie games. The one that I'm playing right now is Mini Metro. It's kind of a casual type game, but it's a lot of fun. Also stuff like, Kerbal Space Program is one of my favorites, Antichamber, and there's loads and loads. There's literally like, there must be a million indie games that only run on PC right now, so do bear that in mind, because some of them are absolutely fantastic. Also, as a point on cost, I understand that PCs can be more expensive. A lot of people seem to think that PCs, you have to spend thousands of pounds, and yes, well, this PC, if you were to buy it today, would probably cost you between £1,000 and £2,000. You don't need this. This is a i7 4790K and a 980 Ti. It's a pretty high-end PC. You can pick up one of the APUs that's sitting right behind the camera and build a full PC for a couple £100, and it will run games okay, 720p or maybe even 1080p on sort of low settings. And if you're in that budget, that's a decent option. And obviously you can upgrade it in the future. And also, especially because of games and Steam sales, and even just generally AAA titles being cheaper on PC when they first come out. As I said, Steam sales, the overall lower cost of things like you don't have to pay for Xbox Live, you don't have to pay for something to be able to play part of a game you've already paid for, which just drives me insane. But yeah, you don't have to pay for that sort of stuff, and you don't have to pay for the very specific like Xbox branded controllers and that sort of thing. So for me, the long-term cost can be lower, and the fact that you can actually create money with a PC, like I started doing, obviously making videos, I use my PC to edit them, so yeah, you can do a lot more, and that means that the long-term cost, at least from my view anyway, is a little bit less. Graphics. It's the main topic that people tend to shout about, and it's kind of undisputed. Anyone who says that the 1080p 30 FPS is more cinematic, I'm sorry, that's stupid. Even films are moving to 48 FPS, or at least some of them are, for a different cinematic look. So yeah, it's really cool that you can have really nice looking, amazing quality screens. And I understand that people don't necessarily care about that. If they're immersed in the experience, that's fine. But it is a big selling point for people who just want to, have that beautiful eye candy while playing whatever game it is they're playing. And I guess the last and final point is mod support. A lot of people tend to sort of whine when you see, those videos of GTA with lots of, interesting cars and cool things happening and ramps in the sky, and that's because it's a PC game. That's actually the main reason why I built my PC in the first place, because I was watching these videos of GTA 4 modders and it looked so amazing, and the only mods that I could do on my Xbox were throwing the save file on a memory stick and then modding the health and stuff. So yeah, PC gaming does have way more mods, and I know that a lot of people, keep requesting mods for Xbox, but that generally won't happen because consoles are such lockdown platforms, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. So just a couple of points on both before we sort of round off. First of all, I know PC gaming can be annoying, especially people who don't want to spend any time troubleshooting stuff with different hardware complications, with drivers, that sort of thing. People who don't want to download multiple gigabytes of patches on day one, that sort of thing. I know it can be annoying, and that's fair enough. My counter to that for the console side is that with the new generation of consoles, so Xbox One and PS4, it just feels really annoying to me, even as a non-console gamer, that they're basically just shipping you a low-power gaming PC and claiming that it's this perfect box for gaming. And also with PS4K or whatever it's going to be called on the new Xbox, I feel like the people who've already bought consoles are kind of being ripped off there, because it may invalidate all their games and they may have to buy a new game library. I doubt it, but it's possible. We've seen it before. Also, to make people understand, it's not going to be a box that will play games at 4K. It's a box that will have the ability to output at 4K so that you can watch 4K movies and stuff, but unless they're shipping this as a £1,000 PC or £1,000 console, it's not going to be playing your games at 4K anytime soon. So for me, that's just quite annoying. And also, what the hell is up with having to pay for Xbox Live and PlayStation Network? I don't know if this is just me as a kind of scorned PC gamer or old ex-console gamer, but having to pay to play part of a game that you've already bought seems absolutely ridiculous to me. And I understand it's meant to be like a premium service or whatever, but it can still be taken down. And let's face it, all of the 12-year-olds that claim to have hoo-hoo with your mum, they're still on there, so it's hardly like a paywall is stopping any of those guys. So that's just really annoying for me. And I guess to round off, it really just is each to their own. I think people who kind of argue about this don't really see the fact that it's two different experiences. People want different things here, and that's why we have such a kind of conflicting argument, because people, the PC gamers are saying, but great graphics and all of these options, and the console gamers are saying, we don't care because it's just simple and easy. And at least that's what I get from looking at all this sort of conversations. I'm sure that you'll feel free to let me know in the comments down below what you think, and if I've missed any of the kind of key points of either. But yeah, so it's a kind of different thing. I mean, PC gaming is all about customizability, making having the best possible experience with, you know, multiple monitors, you know, higher resolutions, amazing graphics, great kind of mods and that sort of thing. Whereas console gaming is the ease and simplicity to just sit down, pick up a controller, turn on your TV and play whatever game you want, and just not have to think about what graphics card you have or what frequency it's running at or what settings you're on so that you can get the best possible FPS. It's just a kind of sit down and play thing, and it's two different experiences that I don't think people, the kind of two camps understand each other quite yet. So I think that's why it's quite sort of toxic in the relationship there. But yeah, I'm sure you'll let me know what you think in the comments down below. As yeah, it's quite an interesting one, and I'm sure the war will still rage on, but it'd be really nice if everyone could just at least calm down and have at least somewhat of a sensible discussion about it. But this is the internet, so who am I trying to kid? Anyway, yeah, that's kind of it. So that is the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to let me know what you thought of the format in the comments down below, as well as all of the news topics and anything we covered in the segments, as I'm sure you will. Feel free to like if you did enjoy it and subscribe for more episodes. As I said, they're going to be coming out monthly, so the next episode will be out on the 24th of June, so do feel free to stick around for that, and we have plenty of videos in between now and then. If you didn't like it, feel free to hit the dislike button, but please let me know what you didn't like in the comments down below, so that we can genuinely improve this show for next time. It's the first time we've done it, so it really would be awesome if you could kind of help improve the show. And yeah, other than that, as I said, we do have plenty of other videos if you do want to check them out. So yeah, feel free to go do that. And other than that, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all in the next one.